I know how you feel.
They feel able now to
Okay.
express themselves the way that they feel.
And I think you can see it historically in the way that the LGBT or LGBT.
So that's the other thing. Why does a
gay.
transgender have to be looped into the LGBT issue? Because there are two different
Yes, I
things,
do.
right?
Yeah, gender and
Because so sexual
orientation are
preference and
different.
sexual orientation is totally different than gender identity.
Right.
So
But
I
I
think
think-
they're always appropriated together.
Yeah, I
actually.
think they go
Actually,
together.
that's historically speaking, before the LGBT community was one cohesive community, gay men tended to accept trans women as part of their group, and vice versa, lesbians accepting trans men. But then during the formation of the LGBT community, it didn't make sense to kick trans people out.
Okay. So would you make the argument then that they should be looped in the same acronym?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that it's all one community. I think splitting apart a community at
But-
this point would...
What do they have in common? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Despite the history that you mentioned. Discrimination, okay. Okay. So then should we put in racial groups in it too? That's the problem. Is like I don't understand. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Okay, well there you go. That's what
LGBT Black.
LGBT USA, right?
Yeah, that's what, like you saying, she talk about LGBTQ, but what if I was, gay? 'Cause I'm gay and then I'm black too. So do I get to sit with the white gay people? Do I get the same, as white gay people?
That's
Cool.
no, that's okay. So the point being though is that transgenderism and sexual orientation are definitionally different things. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't be not looped together. I
You're
just
right
always
that they're different.
no.
Their identities are being disrespected in a very similar manner.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking as someone who is both queer and transgender, I can say from personal experiences, there are a lot of similarities between the oppression of cisgender queer people and trans people.
Okay. So, how many genders would you say there are?
As many as there could be. I mean, there's no really... I mean, who am I to say what someone can or cannot identify
No,
as?
that's not what I'm saying. But like that's what I'm saying. So, but
I think
I
it's
would
called a
say,
spectrum. Yeah.
but okay,
Yeah.
but a spectrum, like a spectrum has to have ends in order for it to be a spectrum.
Not
So you can have an unlimited amount. So it could be.
Well, I think that when looking psychologically and like at like the Q Center and things like that do recognize a gender spectrum.
But those
male
numbers
is on
keep
one
climbing.
end and female is on another.
Sure.
And you can identify strongly as male, strongly as female, or anywhere in between.
But they've
and that's the
they've added a
spectrum.
y-axis, believe it or not, where you could have something in between, and you could be. The point being is now Brown University says there's 88 genders. Other gender departments say there's 92. This is an extraordinary thing for older Americans to hear because this is a new concept. I would say there's something wrong with that. We could have that discussion civilly and with respect and love for each other. Why is there something wrong? I'll tell you why. Is because as soon as you deny someone's chromosomal makeup, thank you, then all of a sudden, then what is your identity? Your identity is what you choose it to
the
be.
individual to determine.
No doubt. No, I'm not.
instead of
I'm saying
determining
people
that-
have the freedom to do it. No doubt. But I can also make a sociological observation of what I think is healthy for a society and not healthy. You see what I'm saying?
Sociology is on
No,
the
but I'm
side
a
of there
citizen.
being
Anyone
more
can
than
make
two
an
genders
opinion. I'm not.
anyways.
I'm sorry.
Sociology is on the side of there being more than two genders anyways. I mean, if you
Not
look
all
at,
sociologists.
Well, if you look at the common sociological theory about gender, it says that it is a social construct and it is separate from sex, which is what you're talking about.
That's correct. So I would make the argument that gender and sex should be directly related. That your chromosomal structure should dictate your gender. And that anyone has the freedom to do whatever they want, and you should be treated 100% equally, no matter. I'm not advocating for discrimination. In fact, the question is, and at what point are we all of a sudden get to descend into chaos, where all of a sudden your identity becomes completely transactional? Your identity means nothing about your actual chromosomal makeup. I mean, the joke is like, what's to prevent me to be a bobcat, or to be something that an 85-year-old person, or what people are arguing for transracialism now, that I'm a different race than when I
I
was born.
think that you are very much
sorry?
oversimplifying.
People are. Rachel
complex
Dolezal,
system.
who is the head of the NAACP, self-identified as a black woman, and I think there was
Most people
some.
condemn her.
No, I'm saying that's a thing, though. That's a thing. Sean King is a white guy who pretends to be a black guy, and he is. Sean King's a black activist. Sean King, you can look him up on Twitter. He's a black activist who's actually a white. He's from the white suburbs, and
He
No,
doesn't speak
or-
for the people that disagree with this.
Well, no, but I'm saying identity should be objective, not subjective.
But it never has been.
Well, gender identity's never been that way?
No, I'm talking identity is not the same as the things you objectively are. Identity is a self-determined thing.
On
It's
certain things.
intersectionality.
So your philosophy, your worldview, everything, so on and so forth. But do you think there's any merit to your prescribed chromosomal structure? That's the question.
Well, I know that my prescribed chromosomal structure, if I had decided to remain a girl, if I had said, I'm going to ignore all the dysphoria, I'm going to ignore the things I hate about my body, I'm going to ignore the fact that every time someone calls me she, I want to die. If I had ignored that, I would be miserable.
No doubt, and I'm not trying to wish misery upon anybody.